Hello indie game fans, this video is brought to you by Will the Myth, a fantasy tactics RPG with a procedurally generated narrative, currently in Steam Early Access. Longtime fans of the channel will be familiar with this title since I have featured it before, and the developers want to highlight their newest updates for the third story campaign in Monarchs Under the Mountain. Travel underground and battle a strange cult. And if you can't already tell, this is quite inspired by tabletop D&D, only with a beautiful papercraft art style and an interesting tactical system. It is already sitting at overwhelmingly positive on Steam, so jump in on the action if you have not. February really had some of my favourite releases of the year so far, with titles from my favourite Metroidvania and roguelite platformer genres, so the top 15 best indie games of the month starts with Metal Unit. This is a pixel art roguelite platformer from a Korean developer, where in typical kaiju fantasy, you don a mech suit and must do battle with both monsters emerging from the ground and aliens invading from space. While the pixel art isn't exactly the best, it does have its charm, which, coupled with the action and that familiar roguelite loop, does make this worth checking out. There are games with style, and there are games with style, and World of Horror certainly falls into the latter category. This is an RPG with procedurally generated elements where you play as 5 different characters in different scenarios, investigating local mysteries and crimes. Of course, things generally take a turn for the macabre, such as a psychopath obsessed with mermaids who starts chopping up girls and stitching their top halves to fish, so content warning on the gruesome imagery. The 1-bit look is fantastically well done, penned as a tribute to Junji Ito, which accomplishes that on every level. This game made me afraid to click on the next button since something gross was awaiting me, so it haunts my nightmares and can do the same for you. From one definition of gorgeous art to another, Beautiful Desolation really nails that old school CRPG look, but with a twist of its own. While it might look like something from the 90s, like Baldur's Gate or Icewind Dale, this is actually an adventure game filled with collecting items, conversations, and solving puzzles. The use of this perspective for a game like this is very interesting and worth a study, but the highlight has to be the absolutely drop-dead, gorgeous backgrounds and environments. Some complaints about the puzzle designs, which, nicely put, is very retro in nature, since it doesn't hold your hand at all, which could lead to some frustration. However, very interesting tribal punk aesthetic and world created, which is certainly a trip. Another beautiful game aesthetically is Luna the Shadow Dust, which is yet another adventure game, but in a much more traditional point-and-click style. Enter a tower at the edge of the world and seek to uncover memories that will tell a story. Art, animation, and lighting are the highlights, with a number of beautifully done animated cutscenes as well. Puzzles are not too difficult in this, with the soundtrack and music really stirring up those emotions, so one for fans of the genre.
Each of you has always been stubborn in your own way. Stubborn to have it your way. Stubborn to never give up. Turn back now while you still have each other.
You stand accused of desertion, murder of your own people, consorting with the occult, and conspiring with enemies of the Republic.
I want railguns on the two traitors! I want them dead!
I've got your back, brother!
Rounding off a selection of gorgeous games is Wilson, Lords of Mayhem, a Diablo and Path of Exile-like action RPG. One of the reasons why I love indie games so much is that they can have such a large range and variety of different art styles, as shown by these past 4 games that were showcased, and all of them managed to be gorgeous in their own way, but I have to hand it to this team for the graphics.
Prepare to be impaled!
If you don't already know, because it is a great looking Diablo-like, this game has done amazingly well in sales, garnering over 47,000 Steam reviews as of recording, which should then translate into a huge sales volume based on some rule of thumb.
Never fought before!
Dawn does not hide from darkness.
The mixed reviews rating has to do with server issues on launch plus numerous bugs, which I suppose is a good sign that the servers were getting hammered at launch, much like Temtem did.
Get ready!
Brother, come back in one piece. Understood?
It is here. Why didn't you leave when I told you to?
As the patches roll out, it should turn out into a perfectly great game, but one of the more inspirational things is that this team at last count was about 13 people, so not a big team at all, but they made a pretty impressive product, so kudos to them. When I first came to know of Darksburg, the concept instantly drew me in since this is Left 4 Dead, but as a MOBA, plus developer Shiro Games made both Evoland and Northgard. Play as a band of survivors and fight through the streets of Darksburg. There are 5 PvE maps, both as L4D style campaigns and wave-based survival, as well as a PvP mode which lets players take control of the Revenants. But as with any multiplayer title, player population may be a concern. There are equipable skills and perks, but people have lamented a lack of progression systems. Regardless, have to give this a shout out and hope it sustains its momentum through early access. Another roguelite deck builder caught my attention with Iris and the Giant, where you play as a girl who must confront her inner demons. The perk and upgrade system is great, as are the strategies that you need to deal with the hordes of enemies, so worth a look if you're not sick of this genre yet. One of the titles that I had my eye on for a long time is Adore, a roguelite, Zelda-like monster taming action-adventure game. Play as Luca and summon and control creatures to fight by your side as you uncover a conspiracy to kill the god of creatures. That string of descriptors alone had me immediately interested in this title since it combines 3 genres which I love, and in motion does feel pretty good to control. Do bear in mind that the current amount of content is quite limited and balanced a little bit on the easy side, but this has a tremendous amount of promise and should shape up to be something quite special. The developers have a self-titled living roadmap up on their Steam page, indicating more creatures, demigods, and the ability to capture and tame bosses will be added, as will new maps, more story, and more. So if you love getting into the whole early access thing to become part of the community as the game develops, this is a great one to jump in. Just a quick note, if you are new here and enjoyed the video so far, be sure to subscribe and check out the Discord channel while you are at it. Here's to more indie gaming coverage, so back to the video. What can be said about the Siege that hasn't already been said? This physics sandbox of a puzzle game made a lot of waves when it was first released in early access 5 years ago, since you could use the tools and parts available to you to unleash mayhem and destruction upon quaint little towns and towering fortresses. Then came Steam Workshop support, and well, the rest is history, with models of everything from the Enterprise to Gypsy Danger being recreated in this. It really took off with the streaming crowd and was a really giveable game, so of course that came with a huge surge in popularity. The 1.0 release brought with it the final single-player campaign set on a desert island and included logic and automation blocks, so now people can really get wowed with this. Developer Spiderling still intends to continue to support the game post 1.0, so I certainly hope that it has a long tail for them.
This world is full of life, full of potential. But now it's under siege, and it's my duty to protect it. I can't let them down.
Imagine Dead Cells but with Diablo-style loot and handcrafted maps, and you get Forgone. Of course, being a fan of pixel art, this looks so beautiful to me, especially in the boss designs. But a combination of the great feeling combat, randomized loot that nails that Diablo-style treadmill, and the promise of a handcrafted adventure that you can, well, actually finish, seems rather appealing to me. It is currently in early access on the Epic Games Store, so waiting for more updates, but a good start and another promising title. If you put ninjas in games, you'll pretty much get my attention since they are awesome, so when I first came to know of kunai, I knew that I had to keep an eye on this. Play as a ninja tablet robot, exploring the ruins of our world and have to fight against the robot uprising. On top of the choice use of the color palette, what feels real good is the traversal, where the dual kunai-driven grappling fun really allows you to zip across the map. Enemy kills in the sword slashers, and the ability to deflect enemy projectiles also feels badass, so a solid entry in the Metroidvania genre. Hotline Miami was one of those seminal games in the action genre, pitting punishing one-hit kill difficulty with the satisfaction of clearing out a level with, of course, instant resets. The Super Meat Boy of action games, if you will. And Blood Roots continues their lineage on into 2020. Play as Mr. Wolf, betrayed and left for dead on his quest for revenge against those who wronged him. Almost everything can be picked up and used as a weapon, from ladders, carrots, swords and more, with the game forcing you to experiment and to try new things since weapons often break in 3 hits. Feels awesome to play and highly recommended.
A challenging turn-based RPG with complete freedom of character development and complex injury treatment system. Welcome to Stone Shard.
Traditional roguelikes got the wrong end of the stick when it came to the action roguelite revolution, since their systems are more archaic and not immediately fun. But luckily for us, Stone Shard manages to bridge that gap rather nicely, taking in elements from more classic action RPGs like Diablo and adding in the turn-based combat that represents roguelikes. Play as a mercenary and travel across an open-world, war-torn kingdom with monsters to hunt, people to help, and glory to obtain. Me being me, I do love pixel art and think it does look rather great, and based on the reviews so far, seems to be pretty well received. The most common complaint is a lack of content, where early access is planned for 2 years, but do jump in if you want this genre to be more prevalent, or hold off a little if you want more content.
With alcohol and taking all kinds of substances. You can make the stakes even higher by choosing the Iron Man mode, where character death becomes permanent. Stone Shard is coming to Steam on February 6th, 2020.
A similarly content-poor but awesome feeling title released in early access is Scourgebringer. This has you exploring ancient ruins, taking on mechanical monstrosities, guarding the seals of your past, and maybe just find redemption for humanity. Again, the controls and action in this feels really good, since your normal and directional attacks do allow you to stay airborne, with a nice variety of environments and enemies so far. There is a Dead Cells-like progression system, with permanent upgrades along the skill tree, nailing that roguelite gameplay loop. Of course, the pixel art is worth a mention, and again, lack of content is an issue, but so far so good with what seems to be quite a definitive roadmap planned for the game. As we started with a Korean pixel art roguelite action platformer, so too shall we end with one as well with Skull the Hero Slayer. This has you playing as a lonely skeleton, the last remaining survivor of an attack on the Demon King's castle by the humans, so it is up to you to save your king. Along the way are paladins, treants, knights and more, so quite a nice reversal of roles. Of course, the Owl Boy-like pixel art is a highlight, but again, gameplay is king, and this does indeed accomplish it very nicely. Our hero can equip a variety of skulls, which translates into different attacking forms from a Grim Reaper, Death Knight, Archer, Samurai and more. top of that, we also have permanent upgrades and unlocks in between runs, and as a big fan of this style of game, it takes the #1 spot. If you made it to this point in the video, congrats! Here's a little giveaway for you. I have 3 Epic Games store keys for Blood Roots, generously provided by the developer, so if you want to win one, follow the instructions on screen. Essentially write a new review on Steam for an indie game that you played recently, and then link me to that review with an email to CLEMMYGAMEScommunity@gmail.com. Winners will be picked at random, and the giveaway closes on next Friday evening, 20th of March at 10 PM GMT +8, so that you can dig in next weekend. Good luck and get writing! If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like, share and subscribe. Check out the recommended playlist or the best pick for you, and I will see you after the jump.